another episode of Addressing Rumors. And on this one, I'm going to kind of include two things because they both have to do with the audit. And one of the things I had heard come around was that in the audit, an extra $30,000 was found in the cemetery fund, and that it's one of those things like, oh no, the secret money or whatever it happens to be. And it's not that. I mean, that is nothing. So in the budget, Lori had put in capital outlay $30,000 because she wanted to schedule some projects, mostly to do, I think, kind of with the entrances and exits on the cemeteries. And we were not doing those. We haven't organized or arranged those. Had the one dead tree taken out, and some various things at the cemeteries. The one building has been partially repainted, and those types of things, but not going to add up to the $30,000. And then, but she had left before she had completed those projects, and then Christy and the admin assistants had covered a little bit, and then Tracy has been taking over as she came in as the new clerk. And so that it's not, I don't know exactly what the rumor is, where exactly it comes from, why it would exist. But the $30,000 number I had heard and come around, and it was associated with the cemetery, and that's it. There were some projects planned. And then the next thing, it's funny, right? Because like those things that mean nothing come around often, and then the things that are like real and important, I often don't hear coming around, which is odd. But there's $105,000 that wasn't properly distributed from tax money. All right, and Christy, when she came in, she was already seeing that, like she was catching some of that before the audit had started, but we were getting pretty close to the audit, so we worked with the auditor to figure out how to exactly solve that issue and fix that. $105,000 is a decent amount of money, and it not being distributed to the proper groups that taxes are collected for is very important. And so the township itself, even though it collects the taxes, I know a lot of people because they've told me, think that money comes here. And it doesn't. Only a very small amount stays here. And I ran the numbers before, and it can fluctuate a little bit depending on your assessments and things like that. But approximately 2% stays in the township itself, and approximately 4% goes to the fire department, so 6% of the taxes approximately overall come to the township. And those numbers, depending on where you are and stuff, you might want to run your own numbers, but but that is approximately correct because I ran those off of specific numbers off someone's taxes. And so it's mostly passed on. Right? I mean, those that I was running that on, if you counted educational activities on the taxes year-round, that added up to approximately 40% of that person's taxes for the local schools, for the colleges and things that everything goes to. That's why you get to vote on some of these university boards that you're not even sure where the university is because they receive enough in taxes that your money is going to that triggers. And so most of the money goes to somewhere else. And when Kelly was leaving, I checked with the county. She checked with the county, are we good to go and everything? And it was like, all right, great. I checked with the county again, just to double check, just to make sure, are we good on our disbursements? The county said, yep, we are good on our disbursements. And I thought at that time that the county was saying that we're good on everything that we needed to disperse to these different groups, the Muskegon Area Intermediate School District and Reese Puffer and all these different groups. And they did not. The county had just checked that the county itself got its money, not that the other places in the county were getting the money. And apparently a number had been written wrong on one of the checks, and so I think it was $87,000. It was probably approximately correct. That might be correct. $87,000 had gone into the wrong account. And so it was in the township account, but it needed to be transferred over to a different account, and then that had that $105,000 total needed to be dispersed to these different groups that the taxes were collected for. And so Christy caught that, worked with the auditor, and ended up getting that distributed. Because what I was really worried about at that point is, are there penalty fees? Is there an interest charge? These types of things. But it ended up working out fine, and so that is fully distributed. And so not, which I haven't really heard. I haven't heard that going around. I heard about this extra $30,000 out of the cemetery fund, and it's just in the budget, which is publicly posted, and we have the meetings on and things like that. So that is absolutely no big deal at all. But this other thing that is this very important, really big deal that could have been a major problem, but has been worked out. So everything is good now. So it's all solved. I haven't heard too much about. And so a decent amount of the stuff is like that, and obviously I have the list I'm working on. I'm trying based on, the feedback I get. I always try to self-correct on my path. And it was like, well, don't come out with too many of the dressing rumors too fast. It's just, it's a lot of negative. And that's why I come out with the positive videos. And that's why I space these out a little bit. Otherwise, I would just shoot one every day until we got through the list. But that's a lot. That's a lot. And so I'm just working down. But that covers 2. So to do with the audit. And the auditor comes in and gives a presentation at one of the board meetings, and that should be happening soon. I messaged Eric a couple of weeks ago, I think now, just to see where that was, and he said they were just finalizing a few things on their end, the various processing that they do, and so maybe that'll happen in September. I think last year it ended up happening in the October meeting, and so, but that is coming up in the near future, and I'm sure I assume you'll spotlight this disbursement problem, and then other things. I'm guessing for sure. We're technically on our 3rd treasurer and our 2nd clerk at this point, and that's where all the money moves through, is those 2 offices, and so that's a decent amount of change. And we've been working on passing things, as you've noticed at the meetings, on consolidating accounts and kind of simplifying the structure, and so everything's just where it needs to be. All the correct names are on all the different accounts and things like that, and getting the old names off. So decent amount of work there. Seems to be decent progress. So if anyone has anything else, feel free to let me know, positive or negative, or questions if you have them. Email supervisor@daltontownship.org, or call my direct line is area code 231-332-6700. Until next time, this is Jeff signing off.